Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Kakadash. Double honors the elders and apostles, a great millstone who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Brakali Yahweh, Brakali Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Kakadash, Brakatum. And to Yaakov that are listening and learning, to you I also say Shalom. So, anyhow, a lot of things going on, prophecy in the news almost every day. And as you can tell, though, that MaGog has been a guard unto Persia, all of them, Gomer and all his bands. I mean, Libya, all of them, have the bucklers and shields from MaGog. And the U.S. destroyer just recently met up with MaGog because any aggression taken towards Persia will be considered aggression taken towards MaGog, who's a guard unto them. And like everything else, though, we know that this last little bit goes beyond Benghazi. Well, you know that, there was 4 Navy SEALs killed during the Benghazi thing. Well, this time an entire base was taken out, and it was, of course, because the fact that they had caused it. I mean, pretty much, though, the United States is the cause of that base being taken out. But what were they doing there to begin with? Well, of course, they were supporting terrorist groups, anything to create regime change, which is what they want. They want a regime change in Iraq. They want a regime change in Syria. And they'd like to get a regime change in Iran, but they will not get one so easily. So they're just trying to move their armies into positions. And like everything else, though, is just the beginning of it. The selective service will soon be full throttle. A lot of people are going to be getting deployed over there. And while they're getting deployed over there, over here, the Army After Next, which I've talked about many times, the code word was Jade Helm. Those practice drills will go into full effect. And you're going to see the UN military after next, because the U.S. military will be in the Middle East. They'll be there in the Valley of Yehoshaphat. So you will be able to see, though, that everything that we've been saying for years is coming to pass. There'll be checkpoints everywhere because that's what the UN Army After Next does. And you won't be able to get in unless you have that mark in your right hand or forehead. You won't be able to even enter in the city, And even if you did have the tracking chip, it doesn't necessarily mean that you get in that easily. They want everything tracked and chipped. So that way they know your every move. And we know that's the mark of the beast. Anybody not teaching that that's the mark of the beast is a false teacher, quite simply put. So, like everything else, though, the U.S. is doing everything they can to provoke the bear, MaGog. And you got, Chris Green, you may as well just say it, man. Chris Green is with the mainstream. He may get some information before you see it on the mainstream, but pretty much, man, he's mainstream because even he's going with that story that Iran deliberately shot down an airliner. And you know as well as I do that Iran would have no reason to sabotage planes. That's a Mossad operation. And pretty much, though, and I'll go on record for saying it, yeah, it's a Mossad operation, as they've done that same shit to Muammar Gaddafi. Trying to say that Muammar Gaddafi hijacked Flight 101. They had nothing to do with it. It was Amalek all along. Same tactics. It doesn't matter what era it's in. They've always done the same thing over and over again. They have a habit of lying to blame political enemies. That's the way the Illuminati cabal works, which are them Zionists and Amalekites. So we can see, though, that with that going on, of course, the mark is going to become more and more mandatory for everything. And we can see that. We can see the economy crashing all around. I mean, yeah, it's beating on the same broken record. We do sound like a broken record, but yet the prophecies are speaking. You're seeing it, and we haven't much time left because this famine is coming in. I'm still on this channel, which is going to be the main channel. I think that when I get that other one back, I'm just going to tell everyone to come to this channel because, let's face it, though, they're going to take down that channel anyways. That channel has 2 strikes already within I wasn't even on it for like maybe a couple days, and next thing you know, it's got a second strike. And that's 2 weeks not being able to upload videos to it. I barely got a street lesson in there, and the next thing you know, the channel's down again as of January 6th. So 2 weeks, that makes it January 20. Well, a lot's going to happen between now and between now and January 20. We see it, man. Every day something else is happening. And you still have the impeachment going on, which obviously that's a dog and pony show too, but nonetheless, though, it's what they want to do. Create these distractions so people won't have their eyes on the real prize, which, of course, the U.S. has lost. They have lost big time. They have their tail between their legs. And fucking Donald Trump is a fucking chicken shit. He's not telling the people that, all the people on them base were destroyed. Heavy casualties. Now, Iran will tell you that 80 people were killed and several injured, at least 200 injured. At least Iran will tell you the truth, because, of course, they know. They know that their target was to go after the terrorists themselves, which has always been the United States and their proxies. So we know that the United States, the whore, Babylon the Great, has always been the secret weapon of Amalek. And you can see that. How much war has Amalek really had to fight? Who is it that puts sanctions on countries? Sanctions don't really do anything, by the way. They find a way to trade without it. But it is a way of starting a war. And we know who started this war. That's why the Allies are going to turn against America. Even Iraq wants the U.S. out of there and is commending Iran for doing that. And the same thing with Syria. Syria knows that who the terrorists are and who's supplying them and funding them. They've been fighting a war on terror. And Hezbollah has been helping them. That's who they killed, was Mohammed bin Salman, And they did that deliberately. Of course. They are doing everything they can to provoke into the war. You've seen a lot of moves last year when they were playing around with Iran's shipment of oil meant to go into Damascus, seizing their shipment. And then you had the Strait of Hormuz false flag events. They were trying to provoke them to war then. And then when the U.S. had sailed a vessel past the Iranian naval, they were doing everything they can to try to provoke them to war then, too. So you got all these drums beating. And, eventually, man, there ain't going to be any warnings. There's going to be direct fire. Because at least the flock Amalek's going to draw everybody into this war, which they already are. All this is not 5 or 10 years from now. It's in our presence today. So we know that Judgment Day is right around the corner. You can see that a famine is about to become reality. The reality is, and I've said it already, that I'd be surprised if this thing goes on another 6 months. That's how close to getting us off of YouTube they are. I'm watching it, man. A lot of channels, even Apostle Ramla, GMS Info Doc 11 channel was taken down, or at least has strikes on it. And then you got, you have whole camp channels come down. Ancient of Days channel, they lost one of their channels and are on another one. Definitely happened to San Francisco camp. And it's happened to another brother that I correspond with, GMS SF Discussion. That went out a couple years ago, and he's been on GMS Enduring Branch. You got all kinds of things, but eventually, man, we ain't even going to have the backup channels except for Daily Motion for however long that lasts. So definitely greatmillstone.info will be the only place that you could go to find out information, find out who's uploaded lessons, and try to do your best to get them. But this whole thing is coming to a halt very soon. Again, get it while you still can. I mean, that's what Apostle Ramla and Apostle Kabar, Apostle Tahar, and all the rest will tell you. Get this while you still can. Because we ain't going to be out here much longer. You can see that, though. Esau's scared because he knows that his time is short and he's going to come down having great wrath. That's why they're trying to get us off the streets, and eventually will. For that, I want to say, Braka the Yahweh, Braka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Wa Abab Abal, Brakathum to hopeful elect. And, we can't wait to tell everybody, all these Edomites are fucking destroyed. Shalom.